Hi, so Planty here. Welcome back to the Alpha Capital channel. And we're doing some interviews with some very interesting stories today. And the first one we've got here is Rutger from the Netherlands. And we're going to go straight in and welcome him. Welcome, Rutger. I'd love to hear all about how you got into trading in the first place, where you started, what your ambitions were as a child, and how you've ended up in the trading world.
Yeah, thank you so much, first of all, for having me here. I'm very delighted. And
It's a pleasure.
yeah, looking forward to this conversation. So how I got started in trading was actually 5 years ago when the pandemic started. And like everything got shut down, right? Also my studies, because I'm a computer science student, and also economics. So study was basically nothing, and I had all this free time, and I was in this environment with a lot of students, and they were all partying, and you know the deal. But I was like, I want to learn something out of this free time I have now. So I really took the opportunity to start diving into a new subject.
So did you know anything about trading when you were doing computer science?
No. Like I maybe heard something about Bitcoin,
Right.
and but I already like the financial markets. I used to like Monopoly a lot, right? The game with the money and
That
trading.
can be very nasty. That
Yeah, exactly. So I just found out about trading, and I was like, okay, so there's this game basically where you can play against a lot of other people, very, very smart people, and only like the top 5%, they make all the money, and the other 95%, they basically lose at the end of the road.
Yeah, it
right?
sort of becomes mean reverting, doesn't it? It's a
exactly.
zero-sum game for a lot of people.
Yeah, so then I started with like joining trading communities and like trading break retest on MetaTrader, like not even on TradingView.
Wow.
Didn't know what TradingView was. Didn't really work out too well, but this is how I got into it. And it really sparked something in me. Like I know I want to become a trader, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but I am going to be successful in this. Like I'm going to keep studying, going to keep showing up every day. And
so, what were you doing in the first instance? Then were you using your own money, or were you into the prop world straight away?
No, so I actually made a big mistake in the first 1 to 2 years. I just traded demo,
Right.
and with demo, like you learn zero about emotion. So on one side, it was good because I didn't lose any money, but you also lost out on a lot of like emotional experience. And when it comes to the real deal, so I think in hindsight, it would maybe be better to start it with like a really small account or like really small prop firm challenges with small risk, and try to see some progress. Because after 2 years, I was like, okay, I'm not a profitable trader yet, but then also I have zero emotional experience.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you have that classic then that you were making money in demo, and then as soon as you went live?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the classic story, right? So, look, my MetaTrader 4 demo, I'm up 20%, 30%, and then show me your real MetaTrader account, and then
straight. Yeah, that's the old classic. And then you start to understand the emotions. Were you a revenge trader in the early days, or?
No,
you've always been disciplined.
Like I have never been like very emotional in trading, like always pretty cool. But I found out pretty quick that like only one trade per day really works for me, because I truly believe that people or humans only can make like a few heavy emotional decisions on a daily basis, of which a trade is like a really big emotional decision, right? So like only taking one trade a day for me really helped me manage my emotions, in the sense that you can't revenge trade. You can't, it's hard to overtrade because you have that one trade limit, right?
Yeah, it's classic.
So,
just like you say, it builds up on top of you. If you're having to trade all day long, and I've had many of these who used to talk about, jobber's claw, and you do start. You have to have breaks. You have to get away from it just to clear the mind.
Yeah. This is also like a big thing for me. Like less is more, right? With less chart time, achieve like a better result. And this is also like I really try to teach to my students. Like the more chart time, the less result you probably get, right? In terms of like live market analysis, like backtesting, of course, is a different topic because you dive into the past. You can really dial in your strategy. You can get in the reps for your strategy. Also, when it comes to testing.
The first way you looked at at the markets, were you biased towards technicals or?
Fully technicals.
You were fully technical.
Fully technicals. Tried a lot of different strategies. Of course, it's known to a lot of people that strategy hopping is not working for a lot of people. So fell into that trap.
So what's that? What sort of strategies would you be using?
Yeah, so I was doing like break retest on like the 5 minute on GJ.
People always say to me like you take these 1, 2, 5 minute things. I go, yeah, I'll use that as a confirmation of another setup, but there's so much noise. It's so difficult.
So much noise.
So it's very hard.
No, so
and
that
you can get it right, but you blow your mind. Like you said, all that concentrating.
Yeah, so that ended up not working for me. Then I also tried break retest on the 4 hour, like on MetaTrader and stuff. Writing my plan in a Word document. And,
right. That's good though. You're
it's
journaling,
good,
you're creating that.
It was like the first steps, right, of becoming more serious. And then I started looking at like some basic market concepts, which they trade at the Trading Academy. So market structure, supply and demand, liquidity, order flow, the 50% fib level, premium versus discount. And then like a fractal entry model, which is like.
So you've got a systematic background. You're trying to create a plan here, aren't you?
Yeah. So like first I was trading like a bit of I see this high there, or I see a supply zone over there, and there's a short, right? But like over time, when you try to find out if that is really an edge, then that becomes a problem. So then I wanted to trade more like an algorithm, also because of my background, like a black and white trading strategy, so to say. And then I started using like these multiple confluences with just a checklist, right? Okay, is my market structure bullish? Yes. Okay, check. Am I trading in like a higher time frame demand zone? Okay, check. Did I take out higher time frame liquidity? Check. And trading like that has really helped me a lot in like finding out if there's an edge with this strategy, because then you can go to a backtest environment, for example, and try to execute that 100 times, and then you will get a win rate, and then you will see like if I execute over and over again, do I have an edge in the market?
So this is like the pro forma manual. You're telling me everything that I want to hear. That sounds a great journey. Keep going.
Yeah, so when I started doing that, like testing a lot, like I have like back tests with like thousands and thousands of samples of just the same over and over again. Also developing multiple strategies, but then I found out like, okay, if you're going to trade multiple strategies at once, you will also lose your edge a bit, because then I was talking about the one trade per day, but then you have one trade per day for 3 different strategies. So how are you going to manage that, right?
You end up with cross correlations. You've got
exactly.
You're in 2 or 3 different instruments. You don't realize what your actual net edge is or your net positioning. Yeah,
exactly. And then it's like full circle, because then you come back to the less is more, right? And then is multiple strategies aligned with less is more? No.
Yeah.
So I went back to the technical strategy I described, and
so I take it you weren't profitable to start with. Then you were struggling.
Yeah. So then I was struggling, like break even. I think in 2023 I blew up like 15 or 20 challenges or something. It was
wow,
crazy. Also with like other prop firms that ended up being a scam, right? Which is also
that's
still
question. I mean, you come
concern.
to ACG presumably because you saw what was happening in the rest of the market, and you heard good things about us.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, I know FTMO, for example, is also legit, but they are like more expensive, right? So, after like blowing up so much challenges with like scam prop firms, I was like, okay, next to FTMO, what are the other big players?
How much did you get scammed out of?
Like thousands of dollars.
Like
for example, with the funded trader, ended up being a scam, and then also True Forex funds, also big scam. So yeah, I like numerous.
But didn't make you give up?
No,
Right.
because I was like, okay, I lost all this money, right? But and I was also like getting close to done with studying, and I really had this goal for myself that I wanted to become like a full-time trader when I was done studying, right? Because it took 5 years for me to finish my bachelor's degree.
So your opinion was that was going to be complementary to going forward, so you plow on through on both.
And it was the dream I started in 2020 to become like a trader or like help other people as well in trading. When I then, of course, became profitable myself.
What about your family? Is there any background in finance, in trading, or even in the
no,
computer?
actually, my dad was a professional photographer.
Right.
So,
and any opinions? We've had lots of people over the years they've either had really supportive parents or people are right against them. So that can often push you back.
Yeah, I guess my dad was an entrepreneur himself as well.
Right.
And yeah, like he always supported my mission, right? He was like, okay, if you think you're a smart guy, right? I know you can do this if you just keep on working.
Well, that's lovely, isn't it? You know you've got someone watching your back.
Like it was a different story when, in terms of capital, right? You will say
Can I borrow a bit more?
I want like a track record before I'm going to invest in my son, right?
Yeah, well, fair enough. But that again makes you concentrate, doesn't it? So
but
you kind of know it's there. You just got to produce.
Yeah, and like if you get like everything from your parents, like you're not hungry, I guess.
That's right.
So he was like, okay, I want you to work for the money yourself, right? Buy the challenges yourself, because if you blow up the challenge for like a stupid reason, you're gonna feel that, right? You gotta feel that. So
absolutely.
And I think that also helped me. Like manage my risk better, like feel or take more responsibility in trading, right? Because if you're just all the time trading with your dad's money and you blow up the challenge and it's like, it's not my own money, right?
I know. And then you've got years to keep looking at them going, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I've been there, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
So any influences in the trading world that made you want to get into it or that inspired you in the first place?
So the Trading Academy, Fabio from the Trading Academy.
So I've heard you mention that a couple of times, the Trading Academy. What and where is that?
Yeah, so the Trading Academy, Fabio started it also like 4 or 5 years ago. It's a big Discord community where we just help people for free on how to become a profitable trader. Also because, we just like to help people. And that can be done for free on Discord, on YouTube. So and because there's also like a lot of misinformation in the trading
huge amount, and quite toxic as well, isn't it?
Quite toxic, and also like in the FX scene, you see all these signals providers, copy traders, like literally girls recording ads, like this signal provider has made me XXX amount of money, right, by doing nothing. Now I live in Bali, right? So we really wanted to kill that stigma by building like an honest brand, like an honest community where everyone wants to help each other, and that's what really inspired me and also made me eventually help that grow bigger.
Okay, so it's from within your own workings and understandings rather than seeing really some famous trader out there. It's all about bottom up building it. So hence your strategy. Do you want to talk about that? Because I'm sure this is
so
quite
like I already mentioned the technical perspective, but now I really am all about the fundamentals, because that was really...
I haven't sponsored him, by the way. I'm glad to hear it.
Fundamentals was the real breakthrough moment for me, because I was like around break even or like a little bit losing, and then started incorporating fundamentals into my trading, and then it switched, right? You really...
The light bulb eureka moment, yeah.
Yeah, you really started to see those like fundamental trends, and like really understanding that fundamental analysis is what drives the market, and technical analysis is only to time your entries, right?
So for all those people that say news is a waste of time, there's nothing in it, you shouldn't trade it, what do you say to them?
Yeah, well, you should trade the news, but like the problem is with fundamental analysis is that it is really complex. So if you're a technical trader who is trading ICT and you want to add like a fundamental bias, for example, how are you going to start?
Because so the key is you wouldn't go to a technical strategy and expect to learn it in 2 minutes and just be able to read it straight away, would you? You've got to put a lot of work in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also fundamentals is what changes market conditions, right?
Yeah.
Because, for example, we saw like the last couple of months like a really sharp impulse on the dollar. The dollar got really strong. And then, for example, all these algorithms, you have these like martingale algorithms, which is like when there's like a pullback in a trend, they just keep adding positions, right? But then if there's like this fundamental trend for the dollar, for example.
I thought you said martingale.
Yeah,
sorry, yes.
martingale, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It keeps adding orders, right?
Yeah.
Because it's expecting like a pullback and then a new impulse in the market. But then if this fundamental trend just keeps going and going and going.
You run out of money.
Yeah, for example, in USD CAD, like it has reached the 2020 highs from the Corona peak again.
Yeah.
But there was like massive losses from like the algorithms and people who just trade technicals because of like this big shift in market conditions, right? So you do really need to take into account these key events, like not only the news, for example, Trump tariffs, but also like GDP or inflation or interest rates or the money supply, unemployment, etc.
So a lot of people go, these are all just words I don't understand. Where would you push them to start that?
So like 9 months ago, I was still the technical trader, and I was like, okay, how can I incorporate fundamentals, because I didn't know much about it, and I was like, okay, can someone help me with that? Like again, I was looking for help on how to interpret all those data points, right? Because you can look on Forex Factory, you see like, oh, inflation is higher or the interest rate are lower, but what do I do with that information?
Because I look at that, because having spent years building it, being a fundamentals trader, and I see these red, yellow, orange folders, and often the yellow ones are more important than the ones that are flagged. There's the headline grabbing ones, but it's the build-up of other things and looking at the nuance within each data point.
Yeah, also like the PMIs, for example, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that's why I created a website called forexfundamentals.com.
Okay.
And I really use all those data points to create like a big model with all the data points getting scored and scored against each other. Because we have, of course, like multiple cross pairs, like euro dollar, but also euro yen and euro odd or euro Swiss, right? So taking into account everything, using data and AI also.
Okay.
We give scores to all the currency pairs, and you get like a fundamental.
And do you trust the AI data to be error-free, or is it?
So AI is like a different part, but it's like fully data-based.
Okay.
And then you get like a fundamental bias for every currency pair every week. So the analysis is done for you, and then we also talk about like what are all the indicators of the model, right? And what is it, and why should you take it into account?
You're still looking for confluence.
Exactly.
But you've got a fundamental scoring system that helps overlay.
Yeah, and to really inform traders and help traders start to add like fundamentals to their trading, right? Because there's like 10,000 ICT websites or technical trading website, but like where's like the
algorithm there,
the Forex fundamentals website where you can learn about fundamentals for currencies, right? It didn't exist yet. So I started it to really again help traders add fundamentals and be more successful in their trading journey.
And do you find that affects the time frames you trade on? Does it make you more of a swing trader, or can people use this in the short time frame?
Yeah, so like the fundamental trends, they either last like a couple of weeks to like a couple of months.
Yeah.
For example, like the dollar has been like bullish for like months over months, because the data like every month keeps showing that the dollar is strong fundamentally, right? And then of course geopolitics also play a role in it, but it just kept going on, and then you can also, again with technicals, keep trading on the lower time frames to add to your positions. But mainly, I started trading.
It's around the bigger trend.
Started trading more bigger trends, and it also allowed me to have more freedom in my trading again, because I do my higher time frame analysis in the morning. I set my alerts, and I can just chill or do other work. Right.
Brilliant. So I was going to say, you've got this systematic background. You're ploughing on. You're building models left, right, and centre.
Mm-hmm.
You must have an escape zone from all this, and surely, what would a normal day look like? That'd be a good way of analysing that.
We have an office in Amsterdam, where in the morning we do like the market outlook, and we make a little bit of content. We do the market analysis.
Okay.
We inform the community about what we are looking at. Then we also help people like on a one-to-one basis. We do New York live streams. So during the New York session, we just go live on YouTube. We talk about what we're looking at. We also talk a bit of fundamentals, technicals, geopolitics, let's say what Trump is doing. And then we obviously go to the gym, because I also really think that health and performance.
Do you have that in your own building? Or
It's close.
Right.
But like health and routine is super important for being a successful trader. Because if you haven't got your health dialed in, you don't have your mindset dialed in, then I think it's harder to become like really successful in trading, because a professional trader is the same as a professional athlete, I always say. So if you're not like living like a professional athlete, how are you becoming one, right?
Okay, so let's take that analogy further. The higher level of fitness that the pros have, the more inclined they are to break down with injury and things go wrong. So
exactly,
you're very systematic. All these signals. What happens when things are going wrong?
Yeah, so
what do
when
you
I
do?
start lacking with like my diet, I start lacking with my training routine. Like I can or I start like drinking too much alcohol, for example, partying too much. Like you had like a good month,
You're
you
in
go all
Amsterdam, aren't you?
crazy.
So-
You're in Amsterdam. Like there's enough noise to do there in the city. But yeah, you start notice like you start slacking with maybe journaling, with like dialing in your entries. You start taking unnecessary losses, and I notice for myself, it all comes down to like focus and like being dialed in, being focused on trading and not on other things.
But when you've got the fundamentals telling you something, you've got a super high score and the technicals aren't performing and you're losing, what do you do?
Reflection. Right. So like reflection is really big. So journaling all the trades, doing like a monthly reflection, a weekly reflection, talking to others about it, showing your journals to other people. Like I will literally go on a live stream and say,
yeah,
guys,
I think trading alone is such a hard thing to do. If you can bounce ideas off someone, it's...
Yeah, so like showing your journal, because then you really can be held accountable.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to explain this stupid mistake I made on XYZ time frame
that's
or
really altruistic.
entry.
That's brilliant.
And people will also learn from it, but you will also be like, okay, I won't make that mistake again, because I will have to show like my coach or like my people or like my students that I made exactly the same mistake again, right?
So again, you talked earlier that the amateur looks on social media and it's like this guaranteed to win, blah blah blah.
No, it doesn't exist.
What about what extent does the edge move in your favor with using this kind of strategy?
Yeah, so I think my win rate used to be around like 35%. With like a 1 to 3 risk to reward, fixed. So that was already enough to be profitable. But then I started incorporating fundamentals, and then I went to like a 45-50% win rate.
Wow.
So by always trading in line with fundamentals and like widening my stop loss a bit. So
even if the market's not quite behaving, you're still using those entry points from the fundamentals.
Yeah, but like I won't, for example, trade against fundamentals. So I have like a fundamental bias before I go into like a trade.
Okay.
And then I want to prevent, of course, trading against the fundamental trend, especially if you trade on the higher time frame, because it can make a pullback. But if the fundamentals are strong enough, it'll keep rallying.
Up, yeah.
Right?
People are waiting for the entry points.
Yeah. You could trade like lower time frame pullbacks against the fundamentals, right? And of course, like the fundamentals are not always 100% right. But like by just filtering on trading with fundamentals has made a massive difference.
So you said originally you used to strategy hop and all that. Now that's all rationalized. What about products? What do you trade the same instruments, or is it a full spectrum?
Yeah, so the strategy and of course the fundamentals, they are for Forex. So I used to trade only dollar pairs, but now I trade like all the pairs, because there can be like, for example, a very strong trend on CAD Swiss. For example, like an instrument which isn't traded much, like really exotic pair, right? Who trades CAD Swiss?
No, exactly.
But like if like there's a really weak Canadian dollar and a strong Swiss franc, then I will just short it, right?
And
why
fundamental wise, you've had a great year there with two determined central banks to signal, and the data's been quite helpful,
exactly. So
it?
you can look at again the central bank policies, also a bit of geopolitics, right? So the Canadian dollar is under pressure from the tariffs, and then the Swiss franc is just a safe haven, right?
Yeah.
So already by then adding that to like bearish fundamentals of just all the indicators, that's...
Yeah, so I try and encourage people to journal the talking heads, the speakers, each week to see... You get a lot of the almost to the extent that the minutes are irrelevant, aren't they? You know what everyone's views are. It's all in the media.
Yeah.
You got to keep on top of it.
Yeah, 100%. So... fundamentals, and so all the pairs. I also sometimes trade stocks, like stock indices, like EU50 or DAX 40, for example. But they move like so impulsively. Like if you use the Forex, like a lot of pullbacks, right? and then the indices, they just keep going.
So what's the model saying about Germany, which is at record highs despite all the negative fundamentals? What is that?
Yeah,
predicting?
so of course now the elections were yesterday. We have the CDU winning, so the Conservative Party, which means like short-term strength for the euro. So we saw euro dollar gapping up this morning.
Yeah.
But all my models are saying like bearish euro fundamentals. So now it's just waiting for that short-term.
Schnabel got blown away last week, didn't she, by everyone else? So they're all
exactly.
She's looking for the pause, and the data's getting worse.
Yeah, so now it's just waiting for, okay, when is that short-term news push done, right? Again, timing the entries. And then, okay, can I find like this strong fundamental cross pair or cross currency, like for example, the Swiss franc, which might be stronger, for example, at this moment, fundamentally. And then boom, your Swiss shorts is like a good idea. And then you can use your technicals to dial in your entries, and yeah, this will massively increase your win rate.
And your win rate's gone to 50%. I mean,
yeah,
again,
like 45, 50%.
And your RR doesn't have to be so big just to be profitable.
Exactly.
Awesome. So what kind of wins have we had? Are you willing to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So with Alpha Capital, when I was trading technicals, I blew up some accounts. But then when I started incorporating the fundamentals, I was just like passing.
The lights started flashing. You knew who you were.
Got quite quick, like within 1 month, I got into from 100K to max allocation. And then I think in 3 months, I got to 23K of payouts.
Wow.
So
that's awesome work.
And again, that has really changed also like my lifestyle. So for example, being able to live in Amsterdam, do fun things, right? Being able to travel here.
Where did you live before you started?
Rotterdam.
Rotterdam. Okay.
But now in a really nice apartment in Amsterdam. So it's really cool that like trading can also give you this financial freedom. The location freedom.
And did you have a job from your computer science or not? Or have you just gone straight into trading?
No, so I was done in September, and then I got the max allocation in September. So I was like,
perfect. It shows
perfect.
You how, perfect
so,
fit, and that this is an alternative way. It's such a game changer for people.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. 23K, like I of course not try to spend everything, but like that's enough to go ahead for like months, right?
How have you found trading with news rules against you, or have you gone down products that don't have that?
That's why I went for swing accounts. Yeah. So with fundamentals, you can have like a big stop loss. You do need to read the rules carefully.
Absolutely.
But like I think it's when you're in the trade like for already a couple of days or a couple of hours, and like the stop loss is big enough, so within like 5 or 10 minutes you can take your stop loss. But if the distance is big enough, you can just do like a risk assessment, right? And then also try to look at fundamentals and like the data points to predict where the
volatility might be.
Yeah, where the volatility might be, or what the direction of the news is.
So I think this is where people get it wrong. They're thinking that the news and the data point itself is the trade. It's not.
No, it's like the overall.
It's a confirmation generally of what you're already looking for, or it's a signal to say that's probably the end of that strategy. We might have to look for something else. But exactly. That's really refreshing to hear people setting up in the right way. This is how we do it in the real institutional world.
Just to make it more available for retail traders who just trade technicals and are looking for like a deeper understanding of the market.
I think you do really well. You're going to put me out of a job. It's dreadful. That's the whole thing that I'm looking at. Well, hopefully from this we'll have some more conversations, and please come and join us on the Discord and show this great wealth of knowledge you've got on it. Hopefully find some punters for you. It's good stuff. What about, so this is great, you've had a lot of concentration on trading, and it's all going well. What do you do to relax apart from the gym? Do you have anything else in your life?
I occasionally like to go to like a party or festival or like a restaurant with friends. I guess Amsterdam is notorious for like it's a good restaurant, it's great party culture, electronic music. And I like to go to the beach, but of course the weather now isn't too great. But
you wouldn't be doing that in the UK. No.
Going to the beach, surfing, like disconnecting from the internet helps to calm down.
So being neighbours to Germany, then they've had the elections. Do the Dutch have any opinions on what was going on over there?
I think it was just really weird with like Elon Musk also calling like with the AFD
Yeah.
and saying like you should be proud of being a German. You shouldn't care about the past, right? You should be proud of like German culture, which is like very closely related to something that happened in the past. So I'm just really glad that the AFD didn't win.
Yeah.
But there were some strong opinions. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's kind of worrying for all of us because the AFD is the most extreme of anybody. Ironically, pro-Putin, which is quite bizarre.
Yeah.
But
Crazy.
And what about Trump? Does he have any positives in?
Yeah. So of course the dollar had like a little pullback recently. Also
that whole Trump trade, as he called it, strong dollar,
like
strong
trading,
yields, strong markets.
For example, I was in like the silver long, and then he said something about I think it was Mexico tariffs, and they make a lot of silver mines apparently.
Do you trade the commodities at all?
Gold sometimes, because the volatility is very good.
Yeah, they created this whole pre-tariff movement and dislocation in delivery. Absolutely crazy.
But then, silver was more exposed to the news than gold because it's less liquid, I guess. So, it got stopped out and then went to the moon. That's where gold had like a more mild reaction.
Yeah, that had
all had to do with the news.
The real delivery issues. And
yeah.
Wow. So, is there anything else that you came here today that you wanted to tell the world about?
Don't just trade technicals. Use fundamental analysis in your trading to have like a deeper understanding of the market. Of course, I would love help people at forexfundamentals.com to become better at fundamental analysis.
That's brilliant. So that's been a fascinating conversation for me and very close to my heart. As you know, big fundamentalist and technical combo. Rutger, that's been an absolute pleasure. Wish you all the success in your trading and also with the venture, because it's spot on. It is in the right space, and it's definitely what the majority of traders need to come around to. So, Alpha family, I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure having you, sir.
And
any comments, please put them down below, and/or contact us in the normal ways with the Discord or any of the social media channels that we're on. Thank you, Rutger.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.